Welcome back to unboxing videos. This is the first unboxing live of 2022. I'm really excited to be getting back to doing these videos. Hi, thanks for joining. It's been a lovely break. Hello, everybody. But it's great to be back. It's great to be back in the shop, back to unpacking orders and boxes and packing up orders and doing all the fun shop stuff. And it's really fun to be receiving all this new stuff that has been coming in. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm going to give you a sneak peek a little bit later of one of the new items that is about to launch a little bit later this week. So you'll see that in a little bit. And we are going to dive right in. I've got 2 boxes to open. I am slowly starting to restock everything from the holidays, and you'll see a bunch of stuff showing up as I can get it. Good morning. Yeah, so let's dive in and see what's in this very first box here. So today I'm going to be opening up these boxes, showing you what's coming in. As always, if you've never watched one of these unboxing videos before, I open up the boxes that are restock and are coming in, and then once I'm done with these videos, then I go and I log everything into the computer. So if you're watching this live, whatever you see in here that's been out of stock, you will see it back in the shop within half an hour after this is done. So, all right. So in here, we have the needle tubes with the caps and a couple more colors. If you are a fan of these tubes, these caps used to come in like 6 different colors, almost the whole rainbow, but it's been months and months since the red and the lilac color has been available. And at the end of last year, all I was getting was like orange. So I have a ton of orange caps, so it's nice to see that there are blues and greens and yellow caps in here. These come in 2 sizes. This is the shorter size, which works really well for all sorts of embroidery needles. And then there's a long size that actually works really well with milliner and sashiko needles. So that's what's in here, is some more of the needle tubes in both the large and the small sizes. Here are the large ones, in case you're curious. All right. This is a huge bag full of the Floss bobbin holders. These are very similar to the very popular DMC version of these. The difference with these Floss keys is that there is this little slit in the top of the plastic bobbin here, where you can cut off the number from your thread skein and slide it right into the top of the bobbin. That way you don't have to handwrite all your bobbin numbers, and you can keep track whether it is a Cosmo or DMC or Anchor or whatever kind of thread you like to use. So that's what these Floss keys are. And then there is a ton of the Beeswax Bliss thread conditioner that was completely out of stock. This is always a really popular item, so there's loads of that in here. And then we've got some scissors. These are the Victorian Rose Gold scissors are in here, and the flexible magnetic board. This is great if you can use this for any kind of pattern that you're following along on, cross-stitch patterns, knitting patterns. This is a magnetic board. It comes with these 2 magnetic strips, so you can put your pattern on here, and then you use this strip to line up to the line that you're working on, and then slide it down as you're done with that line. So this is a really handy little board. And this is about 8.5 by 5, so like a half sheet of paper is the size of this. And the bottom of the box is some linen and Aida. There will be, hopefully in a couple of weeks, a nice big restock of lots of linen and Aida, because I know I'm starting to run pretty low on several colors. But this is the 32 count white dot linen, which is really popular for winter stitching. Lots of folks use this background as like snow. So that's back. And then we've got some 20 and 18, or 18 count rather, in the Celadon and the Nougat. All right, so that's what that box was. And then we've got a big box over here, which has stuff in it that I know folks are waiting on because they've been sending me messages asking for this stuff. So this box should have some things that I know folks have been waiting on for a while. I hope everybody had a good holiday, a good New Year's. So much paper. All right, so this is one of the things that I know folks have been waiting on. These are the Cosmo Hitamari Sashiko needles. These were out of stock with the distributor for most of December, so I ran out of these somewhere towards the end of December in the shop, and I know several folks have been waiting on these, so these are back. There are lots and lots in this box. Let's turn that off. All right, and then we've got some scissors. We've got the Victorian red scissors that come with the scissor case. There is lots of Cosmo thread in here. This is to restock. I've seen lots and lots of folks putting together thread sets for big projects recently. So Cosmo has been selling really a lot. I've seen some great color combinations. So in here, these are mostly to restock the thread cabinets. You've got both the seasons, which is the variegated, and the solid colors are in here as well. So if there is a Cosmo solid color that you've been waiting on, it's more than likely in this box here. So that's what's in there. Let's see, what else do we have? We have one of the Cosmo Hitamari samplers is in here. These are the needle beetle threaders. They're super cute if you've never seen them. They come in yellow, pink, and orange, and this is a little needle threader that has an LED light at the end. You can see when you turn it, when you slide the little thing up, you get the light so that you can see. It's a filament style needle threader, so that's the really thin little wire. So for small needles with small eyes, these work really well. And like I said, it's yellow, pink, and orange are the three colors that comes in. These have also been out of stock for a while, so those will be back very soon. So I was just mentioning the other kind of floss bobbins, the floss keys, and these are the standard DMC plastic floss bobbins that are always super duper popular. So there's a restock of those. There is, oh my goodness, lots of Sashiko thread is in here. We have the seam rollers. Back right after Christmas, right before Christmas, I think, I made a reel where I showed how I prep the Sashiko samplers, and I used this tool in there. So if you didn't see it and you want to go back and check it, it's really important to not iron your Sashiko samplers before you stitch them, because when you iron them with a hot iron, that heat sets the ink. So all that ink that's supposed to wash away after you're done stitching, if you iron it with a hot iron first to get out the creases, you're going to heat set the ink and it's not going to wash away quite as easily. So that's why I used the seam roller in that explanatory video, or reel rather, showing you that this is what I use to press my seams nice and smooth on a sampler as I stitch them instead of an iron. So that's what this is. What else is in here? These are the thread caddies. These have been around for a while, but I think it's one of those things that, you know, there's so much stuff in the shop that I think some things just kind of get lost, and especially things that don't really have a good home because they're kind of different from all sorts of stuff. So these adorable little things are, they're called a little thread caddy, and what it is, it's just a neat little tool, gadget. And so this little notch on the very top is a blade. so that if you are chain piecing, for example, for a quilt, and you want to cut all your pieces really quickly, that's what that blade is great for. It can also work to cut thread of any kind. It has magnetic ends, so you can throw your pins onto it, and then it's just got this little basket that can hold your thimble, a spool of thread. So it's just a nice handy little gadget to keep near your sewing machine or in your stitching area. And there is a couple of boxes of these in here. We've got, like I said, there's loads of Sashiko thread in here. This is one of my favorite water erasable marking pens. This is the extra fine Kanda pen. It washes out with water really easily. It gives you a nice blue line, so it works really well on light color fabrics, not so great on denim or dark color fabrics. But it just gives you a really nice, thin line. So if you're wanting to trace out an embroidery pattern using like a light box method, or if you're doing the new Rebecca drop cloth samplers schoolhouse sampler with her new class, and she has that space there where you can write your name. This is a great marker to use to write out your name, and then it can wash out afterwards with just a little bit of water. So that's what is in here, and those are also have been out of stock for a while, so those are back now. This box is so chock full of stuff that I'm trying to pull out and see what I can show you guys. There is some more of the Cosmo Nishikito thread is in here. There are some Create a Pincushion kits are in here, and that is exactly what it sounds like. It's this little plastic base, and it gives you instructions on how to use this to create your own pin cushions. So this is a really nice thing to do with your Sashiko samplers, especially the small coaster sized ones. They fit in here really nicely. You use some stuffing and you can turn it into a very cute, quick, easy pin cushion. So it also makes a really nice, quick little gift if you're looking for that. All right. So like I said, there is just a ton of stuff in this box. Lots of embroidery hoops are in here. The embroidery needle threader, which I will be talking about more in just a second. This is restocked because I know this has been out of stock for a couple of days. So this is in here. Yeah, so this is just kind of a huge restock of lots of stock of shop basics, things that I always try to keep in stock, and they will be back in stock within the hour or so. So one of the best ways, if there is something that is out of stock in the shop that you would like to be notified of when it's back in stock, you should see on the listing that there is a little button that says notify me when available. If you click on that and you enter your email address there, then as soon as I log these into the computer, an email automatically goes out to whoever's on that list, letting you know that that item is back in stock. It's completely automated, so you will be the first person to find out when something comes back in stock. You're not signing up for any sort of newsletter or anything. Your email doesn't get shared with anybody. It is just specifically for that product notification. So if there is something that is out of stock and you would like to know when it's coming back into stock, go ahead and sign up for one of those notifications and you will be one of the first people to find out about it. So, all right. So last week I had a customer, Courtney, come in and she was asking me what my absolute favorite or essential embroidery tools are. And I thought it was a great question, especially, it's the beginning of the year. Lots of folks are picking up new projects. So I wanted to give you guys a peek into what I keep in my project bags and what are my essential tools. So I'm first going to go over my embroidery bag and then I will go over some Sashiko stuff so that you can take a look at both. So I have a ton of embroidery projects going on all the time. That's just how my brain works. But number one thing is a really good stitching hoop. For years and years, I have been a huge fan of these Eversewn hoops. I am a big fan of stitching in plastic hoops like this because This one and the Rico hoops both have this interlocking system where the inner hoop and the outer hoop nest together. So that one comes in the 4-inch and the 7-inch size, and this is what I am talking about. So see how there's this ridge on the inner hoop that nests into the outer hoop. That keeps your fabric really nice and tight. So you can have this in a hoop for months and months and months at a time, and your fabric isn't going to lose its tension. I like stitching on like really drum tight fabric, so these hoops are really my favorite. I've talked about these so many times, but I love these because the bolt is nice and thick, so it's really easy to get a hold of and tighten. And I also really like that they have encased the screw so that as you're stitching, your thread doesn't get caught on the end of the screw. So that's probably my number one thing, is having a really good hoop that you like, that feels good in your hand. I like these. I like the weight of these. Some people feel that these are a little bit heavy. The Rico hoops have the similar interlocking inner and outer hoop, and they are lighter, but they don't have this encased thing. So a really good hoop is probably number one. This is my little stitching kit that I always carry in whatever my kind of active embroidery project is, and this has all of my embroidery tools inside of it. These little tins, I have sold them for years. This is a supply chain issue. They've been out of stock for about 6 months, but I got a notification yesterday that they are back. So I'm about to place an order this morning, and hopefully we'll have these back next week. Fingers crossed. But this is just kind of, for me, it works really well. I like having the window so I can see what's inside, and it's just a nice, perfect little size for all my tools. So what I keep in here and what my favorite tools are: scissors. I'm obviously a huge fan of scissors, so I tend to keep multiple scissors in here. These are probably my all-time favorites. These are the Bobbin mini Snips soft grips. It has a really long name, but they're from Bobbin. They're these little red scissors. They are super duper sharp. They're tiny. You can take them on airplanes because the blade is less than 1 inch long, and the tip of it has the slightest little curve to it. So if you mess something up and you need to get your scissors under there to pick out some stitches, these work really, really well for that. So these are probably the scissors that I use the most. I also am a really big fan of these mini, I think they're just called mini Snips. And same kind of thing. They're really small blade, okay for planes. Not that I've been on a plane, like over 2 years now, but one day we'll get back on planes. So I also really like these scissors, and I'm always a huge fan of the Kohana mini Snips because they're just adorable. These don't have a sharp tip, so they're not great for pulling out stitches, but they are adorable and great for snipping thread. So I keep lots of scissors in this box. This is a needle tugger, and I keep this in here because what you do is if your needle gets stuck, especially if you're like doing sashiko or stitching through lots of layers, and you hit kind of a tough spot, you can't get your needle through, you can stick the tip of your needle into this little plastic tube, and this gives you something to grip your needle and pull it out. So it gives you that extra traction. It comes on this little hook, so you can actually hook it onto your scissors so that it stays, and it's magnetic here on the top, so you can keep the hook wherever you clip it to and just take the tube out. So I keep one of those in here. Thread gloss is another thing that I always keep on hand. I don't use it all the time. I use it all the time when I'm using metallic threads, always with metallic threads. And then if another thread is just giving me issues, tangling too much, whatever, then I'll run it through here. I like So Fine. I like the Goddess scent is one of my favorites. So I use this. I use Thread Magic. I still have some little cubes of Thread Heaven around. And that is my mailman. So hold on 1 second. I'll be back in a second as soon as I hand off all your packages. You're welcome.
Have a good one.
You too. All right. Sorry about that. That was not my mailman. That was an order pickup. All right. So thread conditioner, I always keep that in here. I keep these. These are the mini tweezers, the ultra sharp tweezers. I keep these in here. These are some of my favorites. I do not pull out embroidery a whole ton, but every once in a while I stitch something and it's driving me crazy. So then I do pull it out, and the combination of these scissors with these tweezers makes it really, really easy to pull out your stitches, any stray random threads that get in there. So I always keep this in here. Its little storage case. The embroidery needle threader. This is something I have kept in here forever, especially as my eyes are getting more and more tired these days. Needle threaders are becoming my best friend. So what this is if you can see, it's not a filament style needle threader. It has this piece of thin metal, so it works well with needles that have a decent size eye. This does not work with needles that have really tiny itty bitty eyes, because you need at least this much space for it to go through. I have something that I'll show you in a second for the really small eye needles. So I've used this same exact one probably going on 10 years now. Whereas with the filament style ones, I tend to break those really quickly. I think I pull too hard. I don't know what I do, but this has lasted for me for years and years. The really nice thing about it is because it is so thick, it works really well with the thicker threads. So if you're using some crewel wool or pearl cottons, all 6 strands and an embroidery floss skein, this 3 needle threader works really, really well with that. So this is always in here. If you do work with really tiny needles, like I said, the filament ones don't work great for me. So what I use is the Kiriki Press micro needle threader. It comes in 3 different designs. I like the little bear, and it has this little itty bitty hook that can get through those tiny eyes. You slide it through the eye of your needle, hook your thread around it and pull it through, and it works really, really well. It's really light and thin, so I have kept the card that it came on, and I keep it just like this in my little box. So those are the 2 needle threaders that I keep in here. And then in addition to that, I always have loads of needles. This is that needle tube that just came back in stock. This is the small one, so I have that. These Bobbin needles have become my favorite stitching needles. I'm also a big fan of the Clover embroidery pack that gives you lots of different options. So I always have lots of needles in here. And then what else? This is just kind of random stuff that I keep in here. I always keep a couple of clover clips in here because I use them for all sorts of things. If a piece of fabric is getting in my way, I'll take a clover clip and just kind of bundle it up and use the clip to keep it out of my way. So I keep clover clips in here. I've got a couple of safety pins in here that probably actually ended up in there from a quilting project or something. I always keep a spare needle minder in there. I use needle minders all the time. So that's in here. And then the last thing is I keep a little baggie in here for all of my stray threads. Whenever I'm stitching, I tend to stitch in the car or out other places. At home in my stitching corner, I have a little cute trash bin thing that I keep all of my threads into, and then I store them in a glass box that I got from Modern Hoopla. But this is also in here as just a little thread bag. So that is kind of a summary of my favorite must-have embroidery supplies. And if you have any that you use, I would love to hear them. If you're watching live and you want to type it in there, I would love to read that out for everybody. Or if you're watching this later and you want to leave it in the comments, what are your favorite embroidery tools? What do you always carry with you in your stitching toolbox? Because I think it's really helpful for everybody to share. And you might, something that you hadn't thought of using, somebody else is using, and it might solve the problem or issue that you've been having. So that's my embroidery stuff. Sashiko, needle pullers. Yes, needle pullers, lots of folks like those. Those are, they're also called rubber thimbles or rubber grippers. And lots of folks use those like these. These are the Little House version of them. And those can be really handy. Reading glasses, yes, those also come in super duper handy. Okay, so here is your sneak peek at the new item that is coming out this week. I'm really excited I am adding a whole bunch of Zip It project bags to the shop this week. I have been using this for about a month now, and I absolutely love it. I love that little Hummingbird threader cutter. Yes, that's another great needle threader. That one is this one. I think that's what she's talking about. And this is, again, another style of needle threader. Maybe I'll do a live video talking about all the different kinds of needle threaders that are out there, because there are tons, and you just have to find the one that works the best for you, because some people love one kind and hate another, and you just got to test it out. So that's what this is, and it's got a little thread cutter in it as well. So thank you for that suggestion. So Zip It project bags, there are 4 different styles that'll be coming into the shop very soon. This one, what makes it so cool is that it has a frame built into it so that it stays wide mouth open as you're working, and then it closes. It can hold, if you're using it as a pencil case, I think it can hold something like 55 pens in it or something. But this has... This is what I've been using as a Sashiko bag for the past month as I was traveling around, and it worked really great. It was fantastic in the car because it stayed open, so I could look in here, pull what I needed for like limited working space. I really love this bag. So these are coming. I am photographing them and everything today, so they should hopefully be in the shop. They will be part of this week's newsletter, which will go out on Friday. So keep an eye out for those. Those are coming very soon. Let's see, I missed 2 comments here. Thread snips. Yes, thread snips are super duper handy. And then is this magnetic? I think that's what that thread cutter. No, none of these thread cutters are magnetic that I know of. So, are you able to source punch needle threaders? Yes, I am able to source punch needle threaders. And that's something I could definitely add to the shop. I actually have a punch needle tool that needs to get listed up into the shop, because I do have a punch needle here that I haven't gotten up yet, but I can definitely add punch needle threaders. So thanks for that suggestion. All right, so what is in my Sashiko bag? Obviously my Sashiko thread. So I like to keep my skeins of Sashiko thread in these braids. And so I always keep these smaller O-rings in here. This is actually a shower ring. At Target, I picked up a box of these. It was really just like $4 and there's like 20 of them in there. And so that's what I use for my little travel collection. I use the bigger book, the ones that I have in the shop that have the screw. I use the bigger ones to keep my entire Sashiko collection, but when I'm looking, when I'm traveling and just using, I know that I'm just using these colors and I only have a couple of skeins. This is what I use to keep my thread organized. So these rings are really, really handy. Again, I have I keep these little, with all my thread ends in there, I keep a little bag in there so that I don't get thread ends everywhere. I keep the needle caps, the Sashiko needle caps in here. And if you haven't seen these, they are exactly what they sound like. They are these little caps that you can slide onto the either the tip of your needle to prevent yourself from sticking yourself, since Sashiko is typically not done in a hoop. And usually you have the needle just kind of poked into your sampler there. And I have poked myself many times. Cosmo threads. Question: have the Cosmo solids collections back in stock? They will be. That this box that I just opened has a ton of Cosmo solids. So almost, I believe all of the Cosmo solids should be back in stock by this afternoon. Yay, thank you. My cat chewed up both of my fine wire threaders. Oh no. That is terrible. So yes, I will definitely look into the punch needle threaders. No problem there. So the thread cap, you can put it on the tip, or you can also put it on the eye side of your needle, not on this one, but on other ones, so that if you store your needles in a pin cushion, you can put these on the eye side of the smaller needles, and it will prevent your needle from getting lost in your pin cushion. So I pretty much always use it on the pointy tip to keep myself from sticking myself. Needles, I always keep needles in here. Again, more scissors. I'm a big fan of scissors. So these are just a couple of the ones that I have in here. And then the other thing that is in here is thimbles. I keep an assortment of Sashiko thimbles in here. These are the ones that I use a lot, is the metal palm thimble. You've probably heard me talk a lot about the lemon loom palm thimble that I use a ton as well. Yes, these are all Sashiko thimbles. This is the knuckle thimble, and this is the standard kind of leather thimble. And those are the ones that I probably use the least. I'd say these two are the ones that I use and am drawn to most often. So that's what I keep in here. And that's pretty much it. And then I've got a couple of samplers that are in here. And Miranda from Lemon Loom is here. So yay. But really, these are fantastic, fantastic thimbles. If you haven't seen me talk about these before, they have a really nice big palm area, so it gives you a lot of space for the end of your needle. But the thing that makes these super duper cool is this flap here, because it not only works as a thimble to help you push your needles through, but you can also use it as a needle tugger. You can put your needle right into that flap and pull it out through sticky spots. So these are fantastic, fantastic thimbles. Yeah, and so that's pretty much, Sashiko is really easy. It's so portable, it's so easy, you don't need a lot of tools and supplies to do it. So that's really what's in my Sashiko bag, is just good set of needles, good thimble, some scissors, and your threads, and you're pretty much good to go. So those are kind of my essential tools. I have a ton more, obviously, depending on what I'm working on, what project. Some things require other tools, other things. But that's what I just showed you is pretty much what I carry with me all the time. Do you plan to expand your cross stitch pattern and kit selection? So that's a great question. Cross stitch, I've carried it on and off, because cross stitch is what I started out doing, and I love cross stitch, but it doesn't sell super duper well. So I stock some, and then it doesn't really sell really well. So then I let it die out, and then I bring it back. And but if there's an interest in cross stitch, I would be thrilled to carry more cross stitch patterns and kits, because there are some really great designers doing fascinating things out there. I do have some Junebug and Darling. I've got some Olympus kits from Japan. So I would be happy to carry more cross stitch if there is an interest in it. Hi, I just received a Sashiko kit for Christmas from your shop, and I'm really excited to try it. Yay! Enjoy it. Sashiko is great fun, and I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I will have a new session of classes coming up soon. Omicron has kind of thrown all my plans that I had kind of out the window. Not out the window, just delayed them slightly, because I was planning on starting some in-person classes. I will also have the online classes continuing on, but I'm not super comfortable doing in-person classes right now. So we're going to push the in-person classes and the open studios into February, and just kind of let this wave ride out, and hopefully very, very soon we will be able to start meeting and seeing each other in person again. I am doing in-person shopping appointments kind of on a one-on-one basis. You get to come in here and shop on your own. You have the space all to yourself pretty much. It's just me in here, and I'm always fully masked and in a 95. So that's still happening, but I'm hoping that once we get past this wave, that we'll be able to start doing open studios again. Totally understand, and I'd love an online class. Yes, so the online classes, the schedule for that, I am tweaking some things, but I should be able to release that hopefully next week. And there you go. So that's what we have. That was the unboxing. That's what is inside of my, those are my favorite tools and the things that I always carry with me. Thank you all so much for joining me. I will be back to doing these hopefully about once a week, same kind of time, Tuesdays at noon. And I'm hoping to be better about posting these onto YouTube and Facebook as well after they're done, so that if you're not on Instagram, hopefully you're watching this somewhere else. But as ever, if you have any questions, please reach out. I'm always happy to try to answer them. And I will see you all again really, really soon. You do a fabulous show. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. It's a lot of fun for me to share all this stuff with you. All right. So, and please feel free in the comment section of this video, if you have any of your favorite tools that I didn't mention or didn't talk about, please, please, please add them into the comment section so that we can all share what we use and what our favorite tools are. I would love, maybe you will show me something that I'm not aware of, and I would love to learn some more. So thanks for your suggestions, and I will see you again next week. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.